Hello, good morning, everyone. I see Philip, Ruben, Siru, Agatas. Thanks for taking the time. I see a lot of people joining now. So thanks a lot, guys, for taking the time today to be with us in this webinar. Let's wait, of course, 5 to 10 minutes to allow people to join. Just can I ask a question before we start, and maybe you can give me an answer via the question section. Can you actually see? I guess that you see my screen. Can you also see my face? Is my webcam on? Okay. Tadeo and Philip, I take your yes as a fact that you can see my face. Nice. Hello, Angelica. Good morning. Let's just wait a few more minutes for people to allow people to join. Let's wait another couple of minutes for some people to join. I just got a couple of emails with people that will be a couple of minutes late. So 2 more minutes, and then I think we are ready to go. Okay, I see that we are already a lot of people. That is amazing. I see people connecting from Asia, from Middle East. I see Tita from Finland, for example, Ruben from Spain. So it's actually fantastic to see people from all over the world, right? So we're going to spend the next couple of hours, maybe less. I know that you are all busy running your businesses, especially in these crazy days. But we're going to spend the next couple of hours looking at the bot supply experience in building conversational AI for the biggest enterprises in the world, and how we are passing on our experience to our network of partners, so that we can all together create business value in this industry. The next couple of hours, if I look at a quick agenda, will be a quick introduction about the two speakers. That will be me and Magnus from our side. Magnus, maybe you want to say hey, hi. And we're gonna look a little bit into. We're gonna go through a journey into the future. There are some key technologies that are shaping a lot of industries out there, that are shaping the way we communicate between each other and between us and brands. So we're gonna look at some trends, both from an AI perspective, a chatbot perspective, and look at also the current scenario, right? Based on what's going on in the world today with COVID. We're then going to go into a bit of an introduction of what is bot supply, what we do at bot supply. We're going to have a live demo of the solution. The product itself, when it's about a conversational AI, is definitely a huge pillar. But in order to actually succeed in building successful chatbots, successful digital assistants, there is one aspect that is equally important, which is conversational design. And that's where Magnus is gonna guide us through what are the processes and some of the key learnings that we have done over the last 3 years, and how we can pass on these learnings to you. We are then gonna look into the bot supply partner program. So how do we work with partners around the world? Some success stories. We're also going to do a little bit of a revenue generator exercise before then looking into what are the major use cases that we see in the market. Some of our suggestions on how to go out to your customers and actually sell conversational AI and chatbots. There will be some Q&A in the end. honestly, I would really appreciate if you can keep sending me questions all the time. If there are some relevant questions at the end of each topic, I would really love to go about them. Okay. So my name is Francesco. I'm one of the founders and the CEO at Bot Supply. Together with me today we have Magnus.
Hey, I'm Magnus. I'm the conversational designer at Bot Supply. So I help our clients and design the chatbots, and I also guide our partners to help their clients get that chatbot that provide the right business value.
Awesome. We're gonna get back to that in a little bit. So as you may know, as you know already, of course, you work, all of you work in the IT industry. So all of us are passionate about technology, and all of us are well aware of the epochal changes that we're going through, be that from shifting to on-premise to the cloud, be that for the advent of artificial intelligence, going from computers just 20 years ago to smartphones. So there is a lot that is going on in the world right now, and to kind of set the tone for the rest of the workshop, I want to show you a 2 minutes clip that kind of get us in the mood, in the right vibes of how the future can look like, and what we can do in our small world to actually shape this future.
Climate change,
deadly earthquake,
a suicide bomber,
terrorism,
nuclear device in the heart of the nation's capital. It's no wonder that we're pessimistic. It's no wonder that people think that the world is getting worse. But perhaps that's not the case.
Perhaps we forget that we've only just begun.
Doing what's never been done before is intellectually seductive, whether or not we deem it practical.
What we're seeing is unfathomably new possibilities all of a sudden becoming available to us.
The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave.
You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever.
We truly are living in an extraordinary time, and many people forget this.
Now, technically, your device is on. Can you hear me?
The yearning to do what we do in the service of something larger than ourselves.
Where did we come from? Are we alone in the universe? What is the future of the human race?
When you conduct those exercises, innovation follows just as day follows night. We can do this.
I know we can because we've done it before.
Stay hungry, stay foolish.
I hope the audio worked for everyone. I must admit that I actually get goosebumps every time I watch this video, because it really shows us some of those industries, some of those everyday life situations that technology is reshaping from the ground up. We could see someone that could actually hear for the first time in 30 years. We saw self-driving cars. We saw exploring space. I think that if we look at, if we zoom in into what we do, what you do in our everyday life, maybe exploring space is not really our business, but there are still a lot of innovations that are coming out these days. And in the next slides, we'll try to look at what is actually the technology that unites all of these innovations. We can look, for example, at some industries like finance. okay, where banks, where we see banks being disrupted by companies like N26, Revolut, where you don't really need a bank to actually have a bank, right? And where you can receive pensions, loans based on your social credit scoring. So, for example, in China, you can get a loan based on you know, the amount of likes that you get on Facebook, on Twitter, and so on and so forth, right? We can look at the future of retail, where offline and online are blending together, where the world is really about purchasing maybe goods, be that a dress, be that food, whatever, online, and consume it offline. We also see that, especially in the retail space, there is a space for a lot of customization and personalization based on all the data that companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon collect and know about us. What we see that what we also see in the public sector is really interesting, where this digitalization of services for citizens or online participation, we see that there is a lot of innovation going on in that space. And if we try to look at what these technologies, what these trends have in common, what we see is that they're all powered by artificial intelligence. We're not really going to go into what artificial intelligence is, the history of AI, but what we think it's important to understand is that this technology, especially in the last 3, 4, 5 years, with improvements in the deep learning space, allows brands, public institutions, and all the likes to have automation at scale, customization at scale, amazing cost savings, and they can also help increase revenues. We're going to look at some of these aspects one by one in the next slides. But at the same time, if we look a little bit about you know, our space, the conversational AI space, the chatbot space, we see that artificial intelligence is reshaping the way humans interact, customers, citizens interact with brands of any kind, or public institutions of any kind. And what we see is that communication nowadays is immediate. You're not really patient enough to wait, you know, maybe 24 hours to get an answer back from your phone provider, from your network provider. You expect brands and services to be available 24/7, and this is also helping at the same time companies to automate processes and customize services in a way that wasn't really possible before. This being said, it doesn't mean that this transition, this revolution is always smooth, right? So what I'm going to show you is a quick clip of how maybe, you know, people that are, you know, an older generation compared to me, you are actually interacting with this new shift in technology, right? Let's go.
Okay, Google. Okay, Google. What's the weather? Yeah.
What's the weather, guys?
What the weather? You want to know what is the weather?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
In Flagler Beach tomorrow, there will be showers with a high of 65 and a low of 56.
Read this. I'm scared. It's amazing.
So as we could see, you know, the transition to conversational AI and artificial intelligence as a whole new branch, right? It's not always smooth, but I think this is also a very interesting example of how you know, anyone, whatever the age, whatever the language, whatever the location, can actually interact with technology in a whole in a whole new way, right? And I think it would also be very interesting to understand and to imagine how this grandma could potentially use this technology, right? And actually allowing brands to cater for new services and new opportunities like they couldn't do before. The reason why we are working in the chatbot space is because, as we mentioned before, this technology shift is allowing and it's actually giving customers new opportunities and new expectations when interacting with brands, right? There are some studies that say that actually 81% of visitors for an e-commerce expect a reply to whether it's an email, a social media post, a chat, a phone call, whatever, in less than 24 hours. So that means that when you are a global brand and you need to face these increasing expectations from your customers, you may find yourself in a bit of a struggle. Why? Because you cannot really scale your support operations by hiring hundreds and thousands of customer support agents. It gets too expensive for you as a brand. While at the same time, you actually need to be more customer-centric than ever, and you need to be available 24/7 across channel and across the world. Because there are some other studies that say that 86% of consumers actually don't buy from the same brand again due to poor customer experiences. So letting your customers wait 1 day, 2 days, 3 days for a simple answer is not an option anymore. And for those brands that actually embrace change already, and for those who actually already see the value of a conversational AI and chatbot or voice bot, for the matter, in their businesses, we see that they're already using this technology, this tool, across the whole journey, across the whole customer journey, whether it's for lead generation at the very beginning of the journey, whether it's for nurturing, whether it's for customer support, whether it's for activation or upselling. We see that this tool, chatbots, is so flexible that actually allows companies to really automate a lot of processes while being more efficient, faster, and personalized at scale. And what we see from the industry is that we can basically talk about the old world and the new world. The old world being a world where again, customers maybe need to wait for 2 days to get an answer, where they leave bad reviews on Trustpilot, for example, where you need to hire dozens, hundreds of people to actually face this increase in customer requests, versus a new world where you can engage with your existing customers, with your prospects 24/7 in an automated way, but still with the opportunity to increase customer satisfaction due to the opportunities that AI gives you to customize and personalize these experiences for your customers. The fact that we are entering a new world, I think it's also highlighted by a few key numbers that I'm gonna show you in the next couple of slides. A research from Accenture shows us that 85% of executives already have in their roadmap to invest heavily in artificial intelligence. 57% of executives think that the ROI from chatbots is very high because of the kind of minimal investment, upfront investment, and the amount of efforts actually needed to implement this kind of solutions. And 43% of them already say that this technology is disrupting in a positive way their industry. And not just this, because we can also see from Statista, for example, that 2017, which is somehow when the whole industry, when this new industry was born, was just worth less than $250 million. And if we look at 2025, we actually see that it's going to be $1.3 billion, right? So it's a pretty steep growth that we see right there. At the same time, I mean, you all know, you are all from different areas of the world, and some of you will be more affected, some of you will be less affected, but we actually see already some results of being in this COVID period, right? And by the way, I hope that you're all that you and your family are all well and safe and healthy. But so we are now facing you know, the industry that is growing massively, and now we're facing the COVID situation, right? So how is this actually affecting, right, the growth of the industry? Well, we know that some brands, and here we have some example from Cry, a Swedish telemedicine company. We see some examples from Amazon, Netflix. Some of these businesses, digital businesses, are actually growing dramatically, while at the same time we also know that there are a lot of examples of companies actually losing market share and opportunities due to COVID. If we try to look at the chatbot space, the space that we are in, we see some amazing examples, for example, from Microsoft, that has been able to deploy in just a matter of 3 days a chatbot for an American hospital, and we are based out of Copenhagen, Denmark, and I know for sure that Microsoft also did something similar for all the municipalities of Denmark, right? So there is actually, I think that companies and businesses are and also public institutions are really understanding that this is not really just a nice to have, but it's a technology that really helps massively in moments, in situations like this. So overall, I think that we can you know, look at the future in an extremely positive way when it comes to, you know, the growth of the industry. And that is something that we also see it ourselves. It is something that, yeah, I wanna share with you and hopefully get a positive feedback from you, because we launched an initiative 2 weeks ago that we are you know, spreading around the world, both with our existing partners and together with all the different Oracle sales teams around the world. And what we are doing to help public organizations or, you know, businesses of any kind to alleviate the pain of Corona is to provide our solution, our chatbot management system, for free until the end of June. And what we have seen in the last 2 weeks has been a huge interest, a huge positive feedback from local businesses from all over the world. We're really talking from Peru to Cambodia, from China to Argentina, from Botswana to Finland, everywhere in the world. And some of these opportunities have already been confirmed and translated into real projects, and some others hopefully will become real projects in the very next days. And what we see, it's not just about hospitals or banks or telcos. We see that it really goes across many different industries, and And actually, one of the reasons why I mentioned the shift of what is going to be the future of public institutions in one of the early slides is because we actually see huge interest from public sector and government agencies around the world. So overall, I think that that we can say that there has never been a better moment for chatbots and conversational AI. So before we actually look into how we can together take your customers and lead them into the future, before we get into the next section of the presentation, if you guys have any question, please write them now, and I will try and I will answer them. And if you don't have any question right here right now, I will then move on to the next topic. Okay, cool. So before I mean, in this section, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do as a company, who we are, and I'm also going to deep dive into our product, into our chatbot management system. So Bot Supply, we're based out of we are a company based out of Copenhagen, Denmark. We started our journey back in 2016, so very early on when the industry really was born, right? And we are an Oracle ISV, and our journey within the Oracle ecosystem actually started as part of the Oracle for Startups program, which is a program that Oracle has to nurture promising companies working within their ecosystem, right? And one of the cool things, one of the many cool things of being part of the Oracle ecosystem is that we have actually been lucky enough to meet Larry Ellison twice. Larry Ellison, of course, I guess that most of you know who he is, but he's the founder of Oracle. So you see two pictures, one with me in the left side, and the other one with Sridhar and Assa from Bot Supply, also meeting Larry Ellison. So definitely one of the highlights of our experience in the Oracle ecosystem. What we've also seen, guys, in over the last 3 years and a half, is that global enterprises are already embracing change. It's not just I mean, the whole chatbot, as you could see from the growth, right, that the industry is going through. There is a lot of movement. There is a lot of things going on, and what we could see is that companies from insurance, gambling, real estate, unions, hospitals, telcos, pharmas, mechanical engineering company, all of them are looking into this technology. I want to go through maybe just a couple of examples. I will be happy to maybe deep dive into the use cases on a one-to-one basis. Here I can show something about Lundbeck, a major pharma, where we have deployed both a web-based chatbot together with a Google Home, so a voice bot solution, where we see that the consumption of content, that was the goal of the chatbot, of the solution, increased by 50%. So this is more kind of a content management, marketing kind of solution. When it comes to customer support, for example, a good case is Top Denmark in the insurance industry, where we see that 75% of the incoming resolutions were actually fully automated by the engine. We see a similar number with RB, which is the payment infrastructure company in Iceland, where we also see a 75% resolution rate from the chatbot. That means that 7.5 questions out of 10 are fully automated by the chatbot, giving time back to the HR team. This was an HR solution, giving time back to the HR team to actually focus on what really matters in their everyday job. And then last but not least, a case with Save the Children, where the resolution rate was 70% and where the overall engagement with the users increased dramatically. Now, and again, these cases I'm going to share these slides with you after the workshop, and I will be happy on a one-on-one level to actually go through more cases, more reference stories together. What I'm going to do now, I want to show you a little bit about what we actually do in practical terms as a company. So you should already be able to see my screen. So what we do, just in a nutshell, what we do, we build multilingual Oracle chatbots with no code. That means that we use the existing Oracle Digital Assistant solution, which is the Oracle chatbot platform. We use it as a backend, and then we actually add some our own flavor on top of it, and with the goal of making it a bit easier for the line of business to actually build Oracle chatbots. And together with that, we make it available not just in English, but in 27 languages. So we cover everything from Chinese, Arabic, all the European languages, some of the African languages, and so on. I don't know if you are, some of you I know for sure that already are familiar with the Oracle Digital Assistant. I know that some of you already used it, already built it, already delivered some chatbots on using the Oracle Digital Assistant. For those of you who don't have any experience with it, I just want to show it to you as a bit of reference. So this is the Oracle solution, which is extremely powerful. It's scalable, it's secure, it's fully integrated with all the Oracle solutions and all the SaaS application. So if you are an Oracle customer, then I would say that it's a no-brainer for you to choose the Oracle Digital Assistant as your chatbot platform. You don't really have any reason to look elsewhere, right? The only thing that we see from our side, at least, is that if you are, for example, an HR manager, it may be a little bit complicated for you to actually build a chatbot in here. Not because you need to code. This is not a coding language. This is what is called a YAML script. So for non-technical, non-developers, this could be a bit scary in some cases. So what we've done, starting 2 years ago, working on this platform, is what we call the Bot Supply CMS, chatbot management system, that we've built with the goal of making it easier for the line of business to again build multilingual Oracle chatbots with no code. And so what we're doing is to actually going from that script, from those lines of coding, to a solution that everyone, again, even the HR manager that maybe doesn't have any coding skill at all, can actually use. So here, for example, we can easily, edit text. We can add images, we can add galleries, we can add any kind of PDF files, we can add videos. So the customization that, of course, you can create, you can use in building a chatbot is maximal. maximum, but at the same time, it's also easy to use for those who don't have any coding skill. And then the way it works, just to show you very briefly, the moment that you actually save the chatbot on the bot supply CMS, if I go back to the Oracle digital assistant, and then I look for what we have just written in the CMS, then you see that we actually take care for you or for your customers to write the code behind it, right? So we take care of translating what's easy to build and easy to use into the underlying Oracle code. And I'm not really gonna deep dive too much into the platform. I will be very happy, of course, to do it more on a one-on-one level. What I wanna mention is that here in the dataset section, for example, this is where some of the magic actually happens, because it's from here that you can create all the different data sets in all the different languages that we support, so that you can easily have, for example, a chatbot that speaks English and Arabic together seamlessly in the same solution, powered by natural language processing, and therefore allowing you as a partner, but at the end of the day, your customers to build exceptional customer experiences. Of course, you can deploy here we only have a few of the opportunities that we have, but you can easily deploy it with a click on any interface. It could be Facebook Messenger, it could be WhatsApp, it could be Microsoft Teams, Slack. It doesn't really matter. It's just one click away. And for those who are already experienced with the Oracle Digital Assistant, this is where we manage custom components. This is the section that allows deeper integrations with the third-party systems, be them HCM, Oracle ERP, or an external CRM like Salesforce or one of the likes. So straight from the CMS. And if we go back into the flow builder, you can actually manage custom components straight from here. I see a question. How about Viber? Viber, we see that it's hugely used in places like Malaysia, for example, also the Philippines. So Viber is one of those platforms, channels that we can deploy on. Absolutely. And once again, any question, any doubt, please shoot a message here in the section anytime. Now, I think that more or less when it comes to the product, I just wanted to give you a flavor of what we have built, and hopefully you got an understanding of how quickly you can actually build an Oracle chatbot by using a graphical interface more than actually coding the whole thing yourself. What we see is that for partners, it helps decreasing building a chatbot that maybe was taking, let's say, 3 days before, down to 1 day. So there is at least 70% time reduction when building a solution, which means that you as a partner can actually increase your margins and actually make more money out of the projects that you can sell. And of course, from a customer perspective, it makes it easier and more sustainable to manage and improve and work with the chatbot on an ongoing basis after it goes live. This being said, I think it's also important to state and to stress that that technology, so what we just saw, the CMS itself, is a huge pillar of what we are doing. But as we could see in that video with the grandma using Google Home, technology is also about building the experience that the end user is gonna live, right? And especially when we're talking about conversational interfaces, chatbots, voice bots, these are things that didn't really exist until a few years ago. And so we as a company, we have invested quite some time and quite some resources over the last 3 years and a half in building our own what we call the bot supply conversational methodology. And because building a great chatbot is, yes, about the technology, but it's also about the experience that we create. So I'm gonna leave the floor to Magnus, that is gonna guide us through some of the steps that are needed to actually create a great experience. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Magnus, and I'm the conversational designer of Bot Supply. And I have a background in human-computer interaction and design. So what I do is, Francesco talked a lot about all these this technical stuff, and that is very easy to just build a chatbot, and it is. But you need to have a deep understanding of the user needs and the business needs, and that is what I try to provide, and I try to then build the chatbot that can accommodate these needs. So these following slides will take you through kind of the approach we have when building chatbots, and then also kind of what a chatbot consists of. So if you have heard about design thinking, that is very much kind of the fundamental philosophy of our approach. Our approach, conversational design, is one where we try to gather this deep understanding of the customers, of our client, and of the business problems, and we do that by using anthropological methods, ethnographic methods, and then we have this design thinking approach where we kind of iterate, we step back. So we go with our learnings, we design a prototype, we try out the prototype, we step back, we adjust the prototype to the learnings we just gathered, and then we try it again. And that is kind of the approach for building successful chatbots that kind of accommodate the needs of the users and will provide business value. So this is kind of an example of a design process. This is of course for a bigger project, but usually we start with a workshop where we, with the internal with the management of with the client, with the customer management, but also with some of the people that work on the ground floor together with the users, and have a deeper understanding of the user needs. And then we kind of figure out, okay, so what is valuable? What is valuable to provide in a chatbot? What should it do? How should it do it? And stuff like that. And then we kind of develop a scope for the bot. And the next steps are actually just to try to dive deeper into these assumptions that we planned at the stakeholder workshop, and then talk with users, interview them, have workshops, and then actually just start creating the prototype. And we just create the prototype in the CMS as you were just taking through, and then we go out and we use the prototype and we learn and we develop it even further. So actually, what is good about our system is that we can develop the prototype in the actual live CMS. So the prototype is not anything different from the actual product. It's just that is like an initial concept. So yeah, that is how we go through it, such a process. And but how is a chatbot then built? So there are kind of 3 components in a chatbot, and the first is what the user sees, is the flows and the copy, and that is kind of what we call the concept and the user experience. So that is everything that the chatbot can talk about. It is the way that the chatbot, like it is the concept of the chatbot, it is the features that it has, it is the persona of it. Does it use slang? Is it very professional? Does it use emojis? Yeah, so but it's in like actually it's just the text, like the input that Francesco just wrote in the CMS. Then there is the data set, and that is the logic and the brain, of course, and it's and the data set consists of user sentences. And then the last thing is the NLP, the natural language processor, which is what makes the whole data set work. So it is an enabling concept. So let's just take a closer look at the flows. So this is kind of this like a question tree for a chatbot. So this is an insurance chatbot that will start with a introduction message, a greeting, and then kind of in the greeting often we will have like an introduction text saying, okay, I can talk about this and this, you can use me for this, to just have align the expectations of what the chatbot does, and then the user can go down like down a flow tree. So talk about home insurance, and then ask a question into home insurance that will further lead into sub questions. So from a technical perspective, or from a technical perspective, that is kind of the way, the structure of these chatbots. So then the second component and the third component is the data set and the NLP. So I will just, here come some concepts, but also notions. But so first we have a user intention. That is what the user want to ask about. So here it is a stolen bike. Am I insured? So the user want to ask a question about if he is insured when his bike is stolen. There is a lot of different ways you can ask about if you are insured when your bike is stolen. You can say, my bike got stolen. Am I insured? Someone stole my bike. What do I do? And like, yeah, you can say that in various different ways. But these are all these all lead to the same answer, right? And the NLP is what is the AI that we use, and that is what kind of can enable all the variation of this intent to be understood by the chatbot. Oh, and provide the right answer. So yeah, so that is kind of the concept. I'll just take you. So there are 3 reflections before building a successful chatbot. And so first, determine how and what to use the conversational bot for. Keep it simple and understand the end users, and clearly define the business case and the return of investment expectations. So this is stuff that, in order to build this successful chatbot, you need to have these in place. And for us, that is, of course, we come in and they have some kind of idea about what to use the chatbot for, but we need to, in order to create business success and value out of this chatbot, we need to help them define these. And that is that is how we do, and that is also what, if you are a bot supply partner, we will help you do, and create business value through chatbots. So that was a little bit about the design, the conversational design approach. let me know if you have questions, then I can provide some answers. One ask here, thank you for explaining. Thanks for explaining more, please. If you are to connect a database to a chatbot, possibly you need the bot to save and retrieve data from the database. How do I do it? Okay, so the database is actually, we create the database ourselves. We often get help from our client because the client know what the users ask for, but the database are just variations of intents. So for answering a question about what you do if your bike gets stolen, you just need to write in the different variations of ways you can ask that question. So we have we take very much control of the database, because that is also how we provide the best answers, and that is our philosophy. So the AI is just, when the AI works by also providing an answer to variations that are not in the database. That is the NLP concept. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, and there's one asking for if we will send material afterwards, and we will. I think we will send the slideshow, and you can contact us for further information and to try to look into the CMS further.
Absolutely. And if I can just add something about existing data sets, existing knowledge bases. Of course, the more data you have, or your customer has, the better it is, because that's when the engine actually really gets smart, and it can provide business value to your customers, because they can really automate a lot of processes at scale, right? And when it comes to industry specific ontology, I see a question from Raj. We've been working in different in several industries. We mentioned pharma, we mentioned insurances, we mentioned mechanical engineering. So of course there is something that you can take from each and every one of them to build a kind of a standard data set. At the same time, each and every business is different. Each and every business is special. So we need to take those peculiarities into consideration and adapt and update the data set accordingly. But of course, there are some things that we can actually take from one experience to the other. So all of these design thinking, conversational design is something, of course, our experience is something that we pass on to our partners as much as possible, because once again, using the chatbot management system may be relatively easy. Building a successful chatbot entails a longer process that of course we train our partners in. And now going somehow towards the end of the webinar, I want to introduce a little bit about how we work together with our partners in different regions around the world, and why we think it's a win-win to join forces and bring conversational AI to your customers around the world. So we are only 16 slides away from the end of the workshop. So a few months back, we started building our own partner network within the Oracle partner network, because as a company we want to focus a lot on the technology. we cannot really go around the world and deploy chatbots on a global scale by ourselves. So we really believe that joining forces is a drive for more business to everyone. And we already cover some areas from Middle East, Asia, Europe, Africa, and South America. But we are definitely interested in expanding our reach through Oracle partners. And the reason why we want to do that is because we really believe that there is a clear win-win situation that we can establish together. From your perspective, you as an Oracle partner, we believe that. And I'm going to show you some clear examples. You can create new revenue streams because once again we are talking about solutions that didn't really exist 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and there will be the key foundation of how we communicate with our brands and enterprises. Okay, so chatbots really allow you to explore a new revenue stream. We're going to do a small exercise of a revenue calculator. Chatbots, we also believe that can allow you to have a closer relationship with your existing customers. Also give you access to an extremely booming industry while without reinventing the wheel. Okay, because at least from a technology perspective, both together with the Oracle Digital Assistant and the Bot Supply CMS, you already have all the tools in place that you actually need to go out and sell chatbots. And last but not least, it's also the ability of getting started in a matter of just a couple of weeks. So from our perspective, we really see a huge value in leveraging our technology together with the Oracle technology, with your presence on the local market, with your connection with your customers to really create a win-win situation. I'm just going to mention a couple of cases coming from here in Scandinavia. We have Attido, for example. I could see Titta in the call. Hi, Titta. Attido, for example, is an Oracle partner in Finland, one of the leading Oracle partners in the country. And together with them, we have delivered an IT support chatbot for the Helsinki hospital, which is used by the several thousand employees at the hospital that maybe have issues with resetting a password, getting access to a system, and this kind of very repetitive IT support questions, and it's live in Finnish language. Talking about complicated languages, from Finnish we go to Icelandic, where together with Miracle Iceland, we have been working in one of the cases that I showed in the previous slides with RB, the payment gateway of Iceland. There was an HR case, an HR chatbot that was built to automate a lot of repetitive internal processes. And both of them, as you can probably read from their quotes, they after they saw it once, after they smell the opportunity, they're now investing heavily in marketing activities, sales activities to actually reach out to as many customers as possible. I mentioned that one of the key reasons why we believe that this is a win-win situation is because the actual go-to-market roadmap is quite dense, is quite short. So we see from our experience with our existing partners that we can go from 0 to a chatbot live in a month or less. And the process that I would be happy to analyze in greater details on a one-to-one basis is basically divided into three into 3 steps. The first one is where we will give you a broader understanding of the technology, both from an Oracle perspective and a bot supply perspective. Then we go into the second stage, which is what we call build. We have a series of e-learning courses. We have a team dedicated to work together with our partners, both from a technology perspective, so how to really build a chatbot on the bot supply CMS, as well as from a conversational design perspective, because as Magnus showed, there are actually a lot of things to be taken care of when building a solution. So we are here to work together with you to deliver and deploy the best conversational experiences that we can possibly create. And then the last step is, of course, the sales and the sales process, the sell, which is something where we share our knowledge, our experience, our mistakes also in what are the best ways, the right questions to ask, the right the right way to build a business case around a chatbot. So we are always here with you across the whole journey when it comes to building and delivering a chatbot. And now I think that this is my favorite slide. To be honest, I tried to do a small exercise where I said, so we're really sure that and we see already in our experience, we already have customers buying the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th chatbot, and we are confident that this trend is just gonna accelerate. Okay, so we are sure that each and every of these enterprise customers that you guys have within the next 2 years will have at least five chatbots. One could be for for ERP, another one could be for HR, another one could be for customer service, another one could be for marketing purposes. Okay, but they will have several chatbots across departments. And even across departments, they will probably have separate solutions as well. So if we just take 20,000 euros as the basic, the very lowest cost of implementing the most simple chatbot that you can possibly implement. Usually it's for very simple, very small FAQ cases with no integrations, with no voice, only on one channel. So the very basic thing that you can do. We see, based on our experience, based on the experience of our partners and the overall industry, that the minimum is 20,000 euros. 20,000 euros. So if we can just imagine over the next 2 years that one of your customers is going to have 5 of them, then we already have 100,000 euros on one account only. And if we try to multiply it by 20, because I know that many of you work maybe on a global scale or across countries. So 20, I think that over the next 2 years is a pretty realistic estimate. Then we can look at implementing, just from implementing very simple solutions, we can easily get to a couple of million euros in implementation services. So this is also why, going back to why this is a win-win. This is one of the reasons that we see for you to invest heavily in this space, because companies are going to be hungrier and hungrier than ever to purchase automation tools, and there is an amazing opportunity for you to monetize on this trend. And maybe on a one-on-one basis, we can also go more into details on the way we work with our partners. Something connected to actually how to actually sell these chatbots, right? Over the last 3 years, we have been working across different industries, across different different industries, and so we have worked on a couple of slides where we try to clarify what could be the different use cases for chatbots. If we look at a customer support solution, you know, all the most simple FAQs can obviously be automated, and at the same time you can easily implement handovers to agents. So whenever the chatbot is not able to understand what the customer is looking for, then a human agent can actually be involved in the conversation, taking over, and of course providing answers to the customer. And down here you see related integrations. I mean, all of us work very closely within the Oracle ecosystem. So if your customer use, for example, Oracle Engagement Cloud, Field Service, Oracle Service Cloud, then those are some of the most natural integration that you can actually build to integrate the chatbot, not keeping it as a standalone solution, but integrated with all the tools that your customers already use. I'm going to go quickly about you know, through these slides, but especially when it comes to marketing and sales bots, at least from a personal perspective, these are one of the most interesting cases, because going from a static landing page, from a static form, to an interactive way of interacting with a prospect, of talking to a prospect, gives brands an amazing opportunity to collect much more data about both customers and prospect customers than once again a static form on the landing page. So all the data that you collect, it could be age, it could be location, it could be interests. All these data are data that you can somehow send back. And here we see responses, Oracle Eloqua, BlueKai. All this data is data that you can enrich, send back to your marketing tools to enrich your database, and therefore provide more contextual and personal experiences and promotions to your customers. So marketing and sales bots, we actually love that kind of use case, because again, the amount of data that you can collect and reuse from a chatbot, not any other solution on any other marketing tool can give you the same. We mentioned HR solutions, so everything about you know, absences, pay slips, going on holidays, onboarding, everything can be at least most of these questions can be fully automated by the engine, especially when it's integrated, for example, with Oracle HCM. Because a chatbot, when it's a standalone, it can answer maybe most of the FAQs, correct? But it's only when it's fully integrated with the existing systems, the existing tools that the customer uses, that it actually can create a huge value. Because if I'm asking about my payslip, then I need that chatbot to be connected to my HCM instance to be able to provide me with the answer that I'm looking for about my specific case. We also mentioned IT support, so password reset, ticket routing, and so on and so forth. ERP could be finance, so reports, insights, and of course this would be fully integrated with Oracle, the Oracle IP ERP solution, while supply chain chatbots would be, of course, fully integrated with Oracle SCM, for example. Something that it's you know, important and relevant to mention is that the Oracle Digital Assistant, one of its strengths is that it's natively integrated with all the Oracle SaaS applications. So it's really simple, it's really fast to create a chatbot that is already talking to some extent, exchanging information with the tools that your customers already use on a daily basis. And last but not least, I want to mention something about what we call the conversational framework, which is about when we talk about chatbots, it's actually not just about chatbots. We see that the chatbot is one item, one component of an overall ecosystem of solutions that the customer may need. So if we stay in the Oracle space, for example, a customer that buys the Oracle Digital Assistant, an Oracle chatbot, they might be well interested in having in buying Integration Cloud as well, especially when the chatbot is connected to several third-party systems. Another example could be Oracle Analytics Cloud, because especially when we're talking in the enterprise level, and especially when we're talking about big scale chatbots, then you want to use you want to learn as much as possible from the interactions that your customers are having with the solution, so that you can continuously improve the conversation, for example, the conversation design of the solution, and therefore provide higher value to the end users. At the same time, and when we look at an autonomous data warehouse, you also want to use these data, these insights, and apply some machine learning on top of them to gain insights that maybe a raw analytics cannot give you. So building and providing chatbots to your customers, it's not just about the chatbot itself. It's actually part of a growing ecosystem of Oracle products that we can present to the customers. So overall, I think that yeah, this is the end of the presentation. It lasted 1 hour and 20 minutes, so a bit less than the 2 hours schedule, but that is somehow on purpose, because I would like to spend the next minutes on answering any kind of question that you may have. So please feel free to share any question, any request with us here in the chat. I see a question: how much a customer have saved in time or money when implementing a chatbot? Any idea? So we have very different cases and examples, and I must say that it really depends also on the industry and the scale of the solution, right? If you have a chatbot that is used by 5 million people, of course the ROI that you get out of it is different if the chatbot is used only by 50,000 of your customers. What we see, if we can somehow go back to how much time is saved, we see that easily 30% of time can be gained back from companies, because you really automate most of the repetitive questions that you receive on a daily basis. So you actually have two advantages. The first one is that you're saving costs, because you don't need the same amount of people actually taking care of that specific task, that specific job. And at the same time, you can retrain your people to do something else that can create new opportunities, new revenues to your company, to your business. So overall, I would say that 30% is a good average when it comes to time that teams gain back after implementing a chatbot. And then we have another question from Chris. Hi, Chris. If 20K is the minimum, what do you see as an average value revenue of a chatbot implemented? So are we talking about revenues created by the chatbot itself, maybe because it's a sales or marketing chatbot? Okay, That's a very interesting question. We have a couple of examples in the e-commerce space, and it's extremely interesting. It's extremely interesting because you see that for example, if we look at Facebook ads, and we look at the average conversion rates and interaction rate between the prospect customer and the ad itself, there is an increase by 70 to 80% in the conversion rate when using a chatbot, because it's a much more interactive way of talking to that person, even though it's automated, even though it's not run by humans. So we see a conversion rate increasing by up to 80%. Of course, not every business will have the same numbers, but when it comes to e-commerce, we have a couple of cases that I can share on a one-on-one basis where we see the conversion rate increasing by 80%. Then how much that will result in increased revenues? That will, of course, vary case to case, but the initial conversion rate is definitely boosted dramatically. Media industry. I don't think we have actually that much in the media industry. There are definitely interesting cases out there, especially back in the days. You could see all the journals, all the newspapers automating the way they share news with their customer base, maybe through Facebook Messenger solutions. But we as a company, I don't think that we have that strong of an experience in the media industry. Victoria is asking, how can I get more reliable, relatable, hands-on practical sessions? So thanks for asking. So once again, we have a full team dedicated to onboarding new partners. So I will be happy to be in touch with you after the workshop, and then we can plan. We can start sharing all the material that guides you through our technology, how to build a chatbot, and then we can schedule a one-on-one session so that you can also tell us, right, what opportunities you see in the chatbot space. Yes, of course, we're gonna share all the material, all the recording with you after the webinar. I'm answering to Lux. I will be in touch with you as well. Does bot supply already support ODA on OCI version 20? Yes, so we are compatible with the ODA 20. Absolutely. We already have solutions live. We just deployed two HCM, two chatbots integrated with the Oracle HCM through one of our partners, by the way, and that runs Stefan. That runs on ODA 20. And so I just maybe wanna go back a couple of slides regarding how does it actually work to become what are the steps in becoming a bot supply partner, and how can we get started together. So the very first step is, of course, a one-on-one conversation where we try to understand and define common interests in going to market together. There will be, of course, an NDA, a very simple NDA, and then what happens after that is that we're going to provide you with we have built a full e-learning course that guides you step by step on how to use our technology, how to use the Oracle technology, and therefore how to build solid and complex chatbots. We also have a material and one-on-one sessions when it comes to conversational design. Once again, there is so much to actually be learned when it comes to conversational design. So we work with you in the beginning while we are onboarding you, but also when it comes to real projects with your customers. So we are with you all the way through, not just when it's about to build the solution, but also when it comes to sell the solution, right? So the main point of contact it's me. So you can reach out to me anytime, and I will be delighted to start the onboarding process. There is not really any cost. There is not really any cost involved from your side to become a bot supply partner. There are some indirect costs, of course, because you need to allocate a couple of resources from your tech team, and someone who is actually keen to learn about conversational design. So these are the only costs really involved at your end, but there is no real cost for becoming a bot supply partner. Any suggestion to create college final year projects? That's Murli, that's a very interesting question. We already work with some universities. We already have even some open opportunities with some universities in different regions of the world for simple FAQs, getting access to material. So I will definitely be happy to share more of our experiences with colleges and university with you on a one-on-one basis. So how much is the bot supply platform? Okay, how much it costs? I didn't go through the pricing because it can be there are different deployment methods and models and pricings. So I'm gonna share with you the basic cost, and then we can deep dive maybe one-on-one. So the bot supply platform costs 13,000 euros a year per chatbot. That is the cost, the basic cost of the bot supply CMS. When I say per chatbot, it means that if you are an enterprise and you have one HR chatbot, one ERP chatbot, and one customer service chatbot, for example, that would be 13,000 times 3. So there will be three different licenses. But the price is gonna change based on, again, what kind of a deployment method the customer prefers. Does the bot supply tool has the feature for continuous training of chatbot already implemented to customers? I mean, ML-based automatic training. Babu, thanks for asking. Of course. I mean, we have built our natural language processing framework from the ground up, and continuous learning is definitely one of the features implemented and being part of our framework. Of course, there are some different scenarios, right? Because if we have a customer that is asking a question that is completely out of the initial data set, then the engine will not really be able to learn that much out of it by itself. So in those cases, you still need someone who analyzes the conversations. We of course notify our customers whenever the NLP fails to recognize a question from the end user. But in that case, if it's a question that is completely outside of the existing data set, then there is still a bit of a manual work to actually incorporate that question, maybe building a new set of a new part of the data set, maybe creating new flows. But whenever it's about existing questions regarding the existing data set, then the engine learns by itself and incorporates new variations of the same question into the original data set. So that is definitely there. Does your chatbot work with Alexa and Google Home? Yes, for sure, Raj. And so you can think about Alexa and Google Home just as additional channels like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, a chatbot on your website. So it's not really anything different. And we have cases with both Alexa and Google Home. So that is definitely something that we cover. We have a standard out-of-the-box integrations in the CMS, so in one click you can actually deploy chatbots on these interfaces. Stefan, you're asking so the differences between the conversational designer in ODA on the Oracle Digital Assistant and the bot supply CMS. Stefan, thanks for asking. We see the conversation, and it's also how it's presented by Oracle itself. The conversation designer is more of a prototype tool than a full-blown conversational flow builder, right? So the moment you actually create the first prototype, when you go and do some changes and do some add-ons or remove flows and so on, then you need to go and work in the YAML script. The approach that we took with the bot supply CMS is actually to make it a full-blown flow builder. And that is the main difference that we see between the conversation designer from ODA and the bot supply CMS. More flexibility in actually building the final solution, more than just a sketch tool, design tool. I hope it answers your question. I want to state again, and maybe let me go back to this slide. I don't know if you have seen an increase of requests from your existing customers when it comes to automation and chatbots. Once again, we have seen a huge spike in conversations over the last few weeks through partners and through Oracle itself. And once again, we are actually providing our CMS for free until the end of June. We look at this activity as initially as a way of course providing support and help to all those organizations that are struggling in keeping up with the increased amount of support requests. But it's also a way to show that the technology works, how it works, and hopefully inspire customers to think at other use cases where chatbots can be useful. The way it works is that we have built an initial data set of 25 generic FAQs around COVID. So how do I get COVID? Can I get COVID from my dog? And these kind of requests. But then either us or our partners actually invest a couple of days to create new FAQs that are specific to the customer. So let's say you are a bank, maybe your customers are asking on a daily basis, can I get a loan even if the bank is closed? Okay, so we work together with our partners and the customers to add these FAQs to the template bot that we have built, and once again it runs for free until the end of June, and then hopefully there is a way to have a conversation on how to bring chatbots to other departments and other use cases as well. Let me see if there is any question. Okay. I don't see any other question. Going through all of them, and I hope that I could provide, that we could provide all the answers. Again, I'm gonna share with you all the slides. You will have my contact information, Magnus' contact information. So any question related to how to partner and the technology itself, conversational design, we are always here to answer. If there is no other question, then I would like to thank all of you. You were actually a lot of people. You were 70 people. So thanks a lot for taking the time. Again, I could see people connected from the Philippines to Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Finland, Nigeria. So thanks a lot for taking the time to be with us today. And I will definitely be in touch with you, sharing all the material, the recording of the workshop, and hopefully also to do some business together. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Have a good day. Bye.